In the mic check on
Testing,
your
testing.
season, they say, Matt, look at Vinny. Vinny, look at this person, like during the end.
A little bit once in a while.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. You know, it's kind of funny. I remember the one time we actually went to my culinary school. We got to talk about what it was like being on reality TV and stuff.
I remember that. That was a good time.
Where did you go to culinary school? Because I don't think anybody knows about your background or anything. It's something you really don't get to talk about on the show.
I guess that's a good point. We don't. I went to the Culinary Institute of America. Coincidentally, I graduated. I mentioned earlier to you that the name of my restaurant was Room 55, and I named my restaurant after my CIA graduation date. I graduated May 5th, 2000, and that's where 55, for my Room 55, the name of my restaurant came from.
That's nice. I thought it was because of the address.
No.
All right. I thought it was like 55.
A lot of people thought so. So that was it. I loved my 2 years at CIA. It was fantastic.
It was only 2?
Yes. I only went for an associate's degree.
Right.
Could have stayed for 4 years and got a bachelor's degree, but one, I was just itching to get it. I was itching to get to work and start cooking for a little while. And weeks after I graduated, I was going to Europe, and I worked at the World's Fair in Germany in 2000. So I wouldn't have been able to go to the bachelor program anyway, which was awesome. I loved I spent 6.5 months in Europe right after I graduated. So wow. I visited 20 countries before I was 20 years old.
You see,
By the time I was 20 years old.
The sad part of it is I should have listened to my family and my dad, who did a lot of the cooking in my house, and I should have listened to my father to go to culinary school and go to CIA. And it's kind of funny because I would sit, besides growing up watching Martin Yan and watching Julia Childs and Yankin Cook, and Justin Wilson was my favorite because even as a kid, I could pick up this guy's like drinking alcohol and getting sauced while he's cooking and enjoying himself. And everyone did that. And I just saw the industry as being somebody's servant. And then, while I was on Wall Street, I'd go out and eat. And with my ex-girlfriend, I lived in Manhattan. So I wound up meeting people, and, I got the bug. Like, might as well go do what you love doing and passionate about, because I could sit. I mean, you and I, sometimes we talk on the phone for 4 hours. I mean, I think you fell asleep on me the last time.
I think I did.
I'm like, man, I want to go to sleep, but Vinny won't shut up. I won't shut up. We keep jumping around. So it's like, I should go and do this. And I reached out. No one would hire me in any kitchens. And I wrote a letter to Matthew Kenny, because he had Matthew's right near Bloomingdale's over there on 57th Street. And I wrote him a letter. He brought me up to his office and sat me down, and he's like, go down to the French Culinary Institute. He graduated with with Barbie Flay and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I never even realized I'm sitting with this guy who I loved his crab cake in his restaurant, but I never knew he was Best New Chef in 94. And I'm speaking to him in like 1998, 99. We had a 98 actually. And he's like, go down to the French Culinary Institute. And I went down there, saw it, and, I'm waiting for Matthew to get back to me. And, he gets back to me months later. He's like, and he was going to actually pay for me to go to culinary school, because
that's cool.
He saw the passion and everything. And he's like, yeah, I was supposed to open up Metrazor in Grand Central, but my lawyers never told me about the landmark laws. So he sent me to Cafe M, which was the restaurant at the Stanhope Hotel right outside the Met. And Jeremy Griffiths was the chef de cuisine, and he was in New York Chronicles and everything. And Jeremy was Michelle Richard's executive sous.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Jeremy's sitting down with me, and he's, talking to me, and he's like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, right now I'm in the, insurance business. I was on Wall Street. I took a break, and now I'm peddling insurance. And he's like, what do you guys make? And I'm like, last week I made $3,000 for doing 15, 20 minutes work. He goes, how the hell did you do that? I'm like, I sold a $500,000 insurance policy. And he goes, are you effing nuts? You want to get into this business? And I'm like, yeah, I really want to do it. He goes, all right, Matthew sent you. He goes, I can't put you on payroll yet. But when I left Wales, I apprenticed in France. be my apprentice, show me that you could work my garde manger station and able to do the things I need you to do on garde manger, and I'll put you on payroll. Lo and behold, I learned things. There was like really some tough terrains, and I didn't even go to culinary school yet. I'm now enrolled in Peter Kamp's, which is now Institute of Culinary Education, and I'm learning all these wonderful things. And finally, about a month and a half later, and I mean, I put in some shifts. I mean, they really got
Yes.
And
how old are you at this time?
Like 28.
Oh, wow. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
You are a little bit older.
Yeah. And Jeremy's like, you're doing a great job. You're on payroll. And it was the greatest thing in my life. Jeremy yelled at me, and I never took it personal. And I always had a smile, and it was, yes, chef. And it was my favorite kitchen out of all the kitchens I've been with, because like Rob on the grill would walk over, hey, Matt, put your knife down, put the tip down, and work your knife like a train, like a choo-choo train, in which you develop a backstroke.
Yeah.
The guys on Saute, this is where I learned about, like, those are the guys. Sure. Like, you want to be on Saute.
You wanted to be one of the cool guys on the line. They're just throwing things back and forth. There's towels everywhere and high fives and flames everywhere. It was, and you're just sitting there watching. They're like, wow, that is awesome. I got to be one of those guys.
And you know what? And I love those guys. And the thing with them, though, I wasn't mad. It was, hey, garde manger, I need that side salad for this dish. I need the flatbread. I need this. Never mad. Never heard it. It was like, I wasn't even a person. And,
I was less than a person. I was still underage. So I was always, hey, kid, hey, little guy, hey, you. I didn't have a name for a while. It wasn't until I was getting ready to go to CIA that they actually started addressing me by my name, which was kind of funny.
But it was the greatest kitchen I ever, and that's where I learned the importance of teamwork, because Jeremy had a really strong team and everything. And then, like, one night, he grabbed the guys. I thought they were going out having beers and cigarettes, and he called everyone outside because Stanhope was getting sold, and I think it's now not the Hyatt, the Hilton or whatever it is in New York, and Matthew had to sell the space back to the hotel. And everybody's outside, and I'm like, I'm hating myself. And then everybody comes back in the kitchen, and they patted me on my back and saying, congratulations. And I'm like, what the hell is this about, man? I'm like in envy in the kitchen, like, man, I'm not in the boys club.
I remember my first congratulations. It wasn't along the same lines as you. Now, mind you, I started young. So I was working in my first restaurant. It was my senior year in high school. And I was basically an apprentice. I'd go a day or two a week after school and just, little bit of basic stuff. Pick some herbs, clean some shrimp, peel some carrots, keep your eyes open. Every once in a while, the guys would throw me a little plate of something to try, explain what it was. I was probably there about 6 months or so. And one day, I remember what I was cutting, but I whacked a chunk of my thumb off, like you could see the bone.
Like what I did on Hell's Kitchen, or a little bit?
Oh, worse. I mean, literally, you could see the bone. I mean, I cut it right off.
I went right on top of the bone.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I'll go, screaming. There's blood squirting up in the air like a water fountain, and you'd think everybody would run over and, oh no, the underage guy got hurt. We should go over and help him. They all started clapping and cheering. Yeah, like it popped my cherry. You're not a virgin anymore. And what? Then one of them grabs my arm like this. Another one pours Jack Daniels on it to kill the germs. And then they took my finger and made me hold it like this, so this way it would stop the bleeding. And they just, it was like a big round of applause. Everybody's high-fiving me. They literally stopped with the chef literally got on the line. He was working all 3 stations so that the line cooks could do a shot with me. That was awesome. That was kind of like welcome to the club, little guy.
And my congratulations was because they all got chewed out, and Chef Jeremy turned around and said, no one's getting a letter of recommendation from me unless all of you change except Matt in there, because he's the only one I say something to. He smiles, and it's yes, chef, and he fixes it. And that's where I got to tell you, it was the strong foundation, like building a house, that one solid brick on the bottom of the base with the teamwork. Yep. And don't get me wrong, everybody had different personalities. I mean, on the line, on the Saute line, they were all punk rockers. On the grill, they were like all the older guys, like how old they were in their 40s and 50s there, like our age.
Sure. Now, I remember even the teamwork, honestly, like I said, I'm 17 years old. I didn't even I still didn't understand the teamwork part but it did teach me like the in motion chain of command. See, my job, my actual job that I got paid for, that I had for a few years at the time, it was clear as day obvious who the owners of the place were. There was two managers that were clearly the managers, and everybody else was just kind of workers. So the owners, it was like, they were there, and they just said a few little things that they had to say, and everything else got done from there. Except it was totally different in a restaurant kitchen. The chef, the guy who really runs the kitchen, is right there, pointing fingers, directing 100 different things. 20 people lined up to talk to him. Ask them a question, they get a 2-word answer, know exactly what they need to do from there. There's no wasted time, no wasted motion. You go here, you do that. This goes here, that goes there. Nobody's arguing, nobody's complaining. And I really seen how to. I really understood. Well, not that I understood, but I really, was amazed at how a kitchen runs from top to bottom. I'm going like, this place wasn't tremendous, but it was super popular. It was cranking busy every night. They probably did 200, 250 covers in a kitchen. It wasn't tremendous. Your basic, 2 stoves, grill, and a fryer, 2 fryers, and you had, three cooks on the line, 2 on garde manger, and an extra floater, like a guy like me, grab me this, grab me that, cut a little parsley type of guy, and it was just amazing the continuity that they all managed to turn this, 100 different things into this, melange of just beauty at the end of the day, where everybody just knew what they were doing, and throughout all of this loud, noisy, what seemed like disorganized chaos really wasn't. It was just a perfect moving flow that one way or another, all of a sudden you turned around like, oh, wow, 15 different things going on. And all of a sudden now all those things are just in the window, one by one, just going out, one by one. The waiters are picking them up like clockwork, out the door, nice and neat, nice and clean. Everybody's happy. Everything's on time. And all of that chaos just funneled into perfection at the end of the line. And it was there. I could just sit there. And after I was like done with my work, I would just sit there and watch these guys. And it was like a game. Wow. It was almost kind of like, like basketball, back and forth, lots of stuff going on. But it ultimately all came together, and they all knew how it was coming together, and it wasn't one guy that did it, but it was one guy that ultimately made sure all of these things were done correctly and left the place the right way. It's the first time I ever realized how much actually went into the dinner that you're eating when you sit down in a restaurant,
Doesn't it kill you? You go into a kitchen, usually maybe dinner service, you're usually there by 1 o'clock, right? You get to see the guy. You get to see the guys that, like, if they have a lunch service, they're starting to wind down, and everybody's telling you all this stuff. And man, you're in the grind prepping, and you're like, all of a sudden it's dinner time, and then flash in the pants, all that work you did for an hour.
Yeah,
you're like, damn, I got to prep this again tomorrow. Plus now I got this, and this. I don't think, and this is probably one of the reasons why I didn't want to get into culinary beforehand, but I love being in the kitchen, is that all that work you do the people in the dining room really appreciate the hard work that you got, that we do in the kitchen?
I was too young to even ask myself those questions yet. All I knew is what I was seeing was mind-bogglingly, amazingly fantastic to see. And I just couldn't wait to dive my hands into it.
And you were
now, mind you, I'm 17 years old. All of these other people, they were CIA graduates. The executive chef, coincidentally, was not only a CIA graduate, but we had the same birthday, which was kind of funny.
That's like my wife and I. We got the same birthday.
Yeah. The executive sous chef was a Johnson & Wales guy. You had CIA and Johnson & Wales and FCI graduate. Almost everybody in the kitchen. The pastry chef was a well-known pastry chef at the time.
And is this at Union Pacific with Rocco?
No, it was long before Union Pacific. Union Pacific was after CIA.
But you were at Union Pacific, and it's like prime and heyday.
Union Pacific, I was at their heyday. Rocco and the sous chefs actually offered me the job there. And as soon as I came back from Europe, that was where I went to go work. I could still say that was the toughest kitchen I ever worked in. I learned a ton there. Rocco did not miss a beat. He did not miss a beat. What he did there was perfect. As close to 4 stars as I've ever seen.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Vinny, thanks so much. I hope people really see you for the great person, great chef, and
thank you very much.
What you are. And
I appreciate that.
You're always welcome in my house. Barrett, I know loves you to death.
He's a great
He
kid.
was excited that Vinny was coming today. So
I had fun with him. He's a good little assistant. He listens. He does what you ask him to do. He pays attention, and he's genuinely interested.
he listens more out of the house than in the house. Like I tell my wife, like, you know, when he misbehaves a little bit, I'm like, let him be. I'm like, he behaves in school. He's getting hundreds on tests. Let him run. If he wants to run around and be a maniac for a little bit, that's fine with me.
You gotta burn a little. You gotta burn a little energy here and there. Anyway, other kids.
Guys, I hope this is very informative. You got to see a little bit of the inside of a chef's life and how we really are as people. Because there's a lot of people that judge us for being on Hell's Kitchen and think they know who we are. But just remember one thing. Enjoy your ports a call. Try new things in life, especially food. And keep cruising.
Mm-hmm.